Hi, everybody. Hi. So excited to be here, and especially on the month of enthusiasm. Interestingly, as always, well, not always, but usually is the case, the time you're given to talk about a certain topic, it confronts you. And it's confronted me certainly this week. It's been a difficult week to be enthusiastic. Yet nonetheless, we know that something persists beyond what appears before us, that there's a deeper truth, and at the same time, we know that we have work to do. And where does enthusiasm play a part in all of that? How can we bring that forth in theos, in God, God within, bring that divinity outward, bring it to this world? And as I thought about myself a bit on the spin cycle this month, I was on the Rachel Maddow binge too, and watching the news and reading, which senator is doing what, and all the other news that's going on in the world. I was mindful of a story that I'd heard, and one which I'll adapt slightly, about going in circles. So there's this wagon going down the road, and on that wagon are 3 little insects. And one is in each different location on the wheel. The first insect is on the rim. The other one's on the spoke, and the other one's on the hub. And at one point, this wagon takes a momentary break and stops from its travels. Enough for these 3 insects, as insects tend to do. They get together and chat. So they got together and said, well, how's it going when you're in your neck of the woods? The guy on the rim, he says, boy, it's been a lot of ups and downs. And I'm screaming half the time and rejoicing the other half of the time. I don't know where I'm going, but I certainly know that when I'm at the depths of it, I certainly want to get out of it. And then the slow climb happens. And I see the middle of the blades of grass coming my way, and I know something better is coming. And then at one point, I see beyond those blades of grass, and I see where we're going. And then, once again, I go down, and I come back around. And the guy at the hub, I guess they're all guys. They don't need to be. The insect in the hub mentions, it's really comfortable here. I mean, I've got no ups and downs. I mean, I kind of spin around a little. It's a little dizzying, but I'm really, really comfortable. I'm lulled a bit. I get to notice that I think we're going somewhere. But I don't have it sounds like your problems, right, of all these ups and downs. I'm not that involved, and I think we're getting there. And the gal at the spoke, she says, I'm kind of loving the middle way. I love knowing and seeing the ups and downs. I love not getting totally roped in to all the highs and lows, but I do miss them. At the same time, I know I'm still involved, and there's a part of me still in this. And I thought of this story not because any one place along that wheel is the right place to be, but that we all are in choice. And we get to choose in every moment how we get to interact with that moment on our journey. And it could be that it's all at once the same thing. That we can be in the mud, that we could be in the spoke, watching the balance between our emotions and our witness, and in being at the hub as the witness, and bearing forth for ourselves and the forthcoming unfolding of what is to be within us and all around us. That we get to hold all of these together. So I think when I go back to the idea of the rim, the story of Jesus really speaks and resonates to me. That whether you believe in the literal story or not, that God's Son, a child of God like all of us, was sent on this earth plane to experience all of life, to suffer, so that we would know that God is with us in our suffering, to rejoice and free and liberate us, to know that God is there with us to free us, and we free ourselves in that relationship with God. The depth of that story, the fact that we are imbued by God in theos, in enthusiasm, is at the core of that entire conversation, that entire gift from God of being here with us in our travails, travels, up and down that wheel. That, to me, is a great comfort, to know that there's a community beyond what we see, beyond those blades of grass, that even at the high points, there is a moment where we get to see beyond that which is right in front of us, that we feel that maybe we're blinded in the moment, but that there is more, there is beyond, there is greater. There's a verse in the Tao that says the inner is foundation of the outer. The still is the master of the restless. The sage travels all day, yet never leaves his inner treasure. Though the views are captivating and beg attention, she remains calm and uninvolved. Tell me, does the lord of a great empire go out begging for rice? The question for us in our travels, in our grounding in God, and having God live in us, through us, and as us, are we always staying connected? Are we going out begging for rice, looking for our truth, our power, our meaning, our purpose outside of ourselves? Or do we really trust in the truth that wherever we are on that wheel, whatever we're experiencing, whatever the ups and downs are, we are who we are? The truth is unfolding within us. The path is being revealed. And that enthusiasm is prodding us to trust. Trust. What's next? Trust. Every moment, trust. And no one's saying it's easy. Those ants, I'm sure, are clinging to dear life no matter where they are, as we might be. Regarding the spoke and our life as somewhere in the middle way is often spoken of in spiritual circles as the place to be. And I have no dog in this fight as to where you need to be. We all need to be wherever we need to be. And we can be in multiple places and run around all we want. And the middle way I find most interesting. I think of the 30-Day Mental Diet. I don't know how many of you have read that, by Willis Kinnear. And he asks just a wonderful question. He says, you're alive, but are you fully alive? Are you in this middle way sometimes detached from that essence that really is life, that freshness? Sometimes you got to be in the dirt. If we need to tend our own gardens, we're going to get dirty. If we want to visit the heights, see what is beyond what is in front of us, we must step out beyond our comfort and express some courage, that moment of being fully alive. What naturally follows, he says, is a life that must be purposeful and full of creativity. The middle way serves us, but it is not the only way, is what I would offer you today. Let's not get stuck in any ruts. Let's be cool with traveling up and down that wheel and knowing that all is good. All is a perfect unfolding of our lives. All is for our greatest good. I find sometimes in spiritual communities we may judge where we are. And I would just offer that there is little value to that, because where you are is good. That journey where you are is leading you to the next place of good. Good, God, in God, enthusiasm. They're all interlinked. We are all journeying in that space of God. And the third, the part, the witness, the hub, that little ant that's a little comfortable, but has the great luxury of stepping back and bearing witness. As everything in life, there's a paradox, right? One can bear witness all your life and yet do very little to actually action change. Or one could argue that, I should say. And the balancing act that the Tao tells us is, yes, be the witness, but participate in life too. We all are traveling along the way. Yet at the same time, let us not get caught up in all the little things, and all the ups and downs, and all the brokenheartedness, and all of the ways we can distract or fall asleep. So, where do we go? We talked about the wheel, and I think there's a lot more to the story, isn't there? We are also the charioteer. We also must be questioning and curious, what's in this wagon that we're carrying? So, enthusiasm for us, enthusiasm as it expresses through us, as it is a vehicle for God to be alive in and through us, always asks us to take a look, to be curious, to invite an understanding, a greater understanding of what's going on. If you're carrying in your chariot your past and your history, you may want to reconsider. What are we carrying along with us as we go forward? Are we bringing a treasure, or are we expecting to go out begging for rice? Are we bringing everything that we believe and truly believe, or are we bringing down beliefs and thoughts that were handed to us and we're just carrying some hand-me-downs back there? What are we bringing with us on this journey? And the last piece is the charioteer. There is a great capacity within us to want to control. And as adults, it's kind of just beaten into us, right? I kept thinking about enthusiasm, and I was thinking children, animals, unadulterated living beings in our lives that are just the embodiment of the present moment, the joy in the present moment. They just show up, and they're so happy to show up. And yet there's full diversity in how they show up. If I were to have a hissy fit in aisle 4 by banging my knees and hands on the ground, I don't think I could do that as an adult, but I sure could do that as a 4-year-old. That's full enthusiasm of life, isn't it? You get to know right then and there how somebody feels. It's present, it's real, it's true, it's genuine, it's available. And all of those, the good and the bad, up and down that wheel, it's real, and it is enthusiasm. It is life, fully alive, right there. So the invitation for us as the charioteer is, let's not be like Scrooge behind that chariot. We don't need to go maybe 2 miles an hour. We don't need to be whipping those horses really bad. We need to consider what it really means to be fully present, take our time, but be honest, available, true to each moment by moment, and pace it the way we want to pace it. This is our ride. It's our journey. It's our way forward. And all of that together, that metaphor, which, forgive me if I have beaten it over the head, to me is what makes sense of enthusiasm the most. That it is all imbued everywhere. Oftentimes we think it's like the cheerleader rah-rah moment where it's just happiness. Enthusiasm's greatest gift to us is in those lulls where we can say to ourselves, I know and I trust that there is something greater, that there's something beyond what I can see, that there is something beyond those blades of grass that are blocking my view. that there's always something greater unfolding. So as you go forward this week, driving your car, or every time you see a wheel, just ask yourself, where am I on that wheel? Where am I? And I hope and I know that enthusiasm is there with you, that just in asking that question, that spark, that childlike question, that you have everything that you need, that God is within you, propelling you forward on your journey. And so it is. Amen.